Yo, 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 what is up, everybody? Chris here from Esports News, Access Rotation, however the flip you know me on these interwebs. And today I'm going to be bringing you guys something a little bit different. As you can see on the screen, I am on COD-stats.com. This is a site run by some of my friends. I'm actually part of the team now. I am the head moderator for the Discord. So if you are not, I will link the Discord down below in the description. But I'm working with these guys. They're some like-minded individuals, super passionate about Call of Duty, great guys. Really excited to be partnered with them, doing content. So yeah, trying to blow this site up for the guys, trying to work together to build something great here. And without further ado, I want to get into using their prediction system to make some CDL picks. So without further ado, let's go through the site so you guys can get a quick overview. This is honestly the best hidden gem within our community. So if you need any sort of statistical insight, in addition to breaking point, this is probably the best thing for advanced stats. So let me take you guys through it. Just set up an account to make my picks. Be sure to do the same. Use code FSNChris, no space for the referral. And yeah, let's get it popping. There's a $500 reward for the top placing person. So yeah, if I win it, then I'll just do a giveaway to you guys since obviously I'm part of the team. So CDL leaderboards access comprehensive Call of Duty League statistics, including player rankings, team standings, KD ratios, and detailed match breakdowns, filtered by event, mode, and more. Live streams, CDL, challengers, and online league streams right here. Never miss a match with our integrated viewer. You guys are doing God's work right here. Discover community-run competitive leagues, track standings, player stats, and playoff brackets for leagues like WWCL, K7, and more. Test your prediction skills, predict CDL match outcomes. This is what we'll be doing here. And top performers to earn tickets for prize drawings. G-Stake credits, wager virtual credits on match outcomes, earn credits through referrals, 250 bonus, daily claims, and successful predictions. Create, save, and share interactive map strategies, draw callouts, plan routes, and export high-quality images for your team. Track your amateur team scrims and matches, log detailed player stats, analyze performance trends, and improve together. Honestly, this is a lot of the stuff that I wanted to do with my website. It's just I do content, so it's hard to do both. So honestly, that's why I love partnering with these guys. If you can't get to it yourself, partner with someone who can. Stay informed with the latest CDL news, roster moves, tournament recaps, and community highlights. Enter exclusive giveaways for COD points, merchandise, gaming gear, and more. Free entries to registered users. Access your profile, view achievements, manage referrals, check your G-Stake balance, and track your PlayCrack tickets. Unlock achievements by exploring features, making predictions, and engaging with the community. Level up your profile. And that's it. So yeah, as you guys can see, they do a lot. So shout out to the COD-stats team. Shout out to my boy Turnt and everybody over there. Happy to be working with the guys. As you can hear my voice, I'm very excited. And yeah, let's get into PlayCracked, which is their version of Pick'ems. So this is where you can actually do your map predictions. And yeah, pretty straightforward. So you guys know I do Pick'ems each week. So I'm going to be doing these as well on the COD-stats website, because the guys are doing amazing work. You got to feature, the hot hand, right? So without further ado, let's get into the series. Our first series of today, Friday's match, is at time of recording, as you guys can see, starts in about 3.5 hours. Optic, Texas, taking on the Carolina Exceeds, aka the Carolina Royal Ravens. Let's lock in some picks, guys. Oh wait, what did I just do? Wait, what was the prediction that I submitted? Hold on. Wait, how? Where's my prediction, bro? All right, so where do I see my predictions? How do I open these? Oh, okay. I had quick predictions selected. Okay, so just so you guys know, if you have this turned on, you'll do quick predictions. But if you don't, then you can make your own custom predictions. Okay, so oh, so you can do player props too. Holy shit. Holy shit. Wow. We'll say for Toronto versus Mates, we're going to say 200 to 250 for map 1, right? Feels pretty reasonable. We'll say Joe Deceives drops 30 and 25. We'll say Real drops 25 and 28. We'll say Kleenex drops 28 and 27, and we'll say 28 and 26. And then we'll say Jamie Insight drops 20 and let's say 23. And then on the Gentlemates side, we'll say Envoy drops 27 and 24. We'll say my boy Dan Ghosty goes Nuclear, drops 35 and 29. We'll say Nep has 36 and 28. And then we'll say Siblance has 25 and 22. Map 2, we'll say this is a 6th. Alright, honestly, I'm just going to do some of these as like hardcore predictions, and then I'm going to do others as autofill. We're going to say Joe Deceives is 9 and 6. This whole series I'm going to do manually, but some of the other ones I won't. Because this is going to take a while. We'll say Kleenex, we'll say he drops 6 and 5, and then we'll say Insight drops, we'll say 6, 7. Why not? 6, 7. Envoy, we'll say he puts up 5 and 8. Ghosty, we'll say he puts up 8 and 5. Nep, we'll say he puts up 7 and 6. Inverse is 6, 7, you know. And then we'll say Sib is 6 and 8. Map 3, Overload. Mates are not a good Overload team, so I'm going to say that Toronto take this probably 4 to, we'll say 5 to 3. We'll say 5 to 3. We'll say Joe Deceives drops, let's say he has a weird under Overload today, 24 and 22. We'll say Real pops off 26 and 24, right? 26 and 240, nah, hell no. 24, 26 and 27 is crazy. 24. We'll say Toby, let's say Toby is the kill leader in this Overload, right? That kind of makes sense. He's pretty good at Overload. And then we'll say Jamie Insight, 20 and 22. Envoy will give him 25 and 25. We'll let him go even. Ghosty, I'm going to give him 32 and 27. Nep, I'm going to say he probably has a not great Overload. I'm going to say he goes 25 and 30. And then Sib, I'm going to say Sib does solid, and I'm going to say he goes 26 and 26. Map 4, so we have Toronto Koi up 2-1 in the series. Map 4, I'm going to think that this is going to be a close one. 220, 250. Dan Ghosty 40 piece. Let's fill that in first. 40 and 32. Envoy. Let's say Envoy gets 28. 28 to 3. No, I'm kidding. Bad joke for anyone who's from Atlanta like me. But Neptune, if Ghosty's dropping 40, I'm going to say Nep drops 35 and 29. These are all just guesses, guys. Don't think that I have like some sort of like insight into these different KDs. This is just what I've noticed, like player averages in games 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. Joseph's usually is a game 4 like toss up. Like Joe could really seal the series in the game 4, or he could have like kind of a slow map for his standards, you know. So we'll say Real is probably going to get tucked to bed in this map 4. That's typically how that goes, right? Kleenex, we'll say he gets 26 and 22. Then Insight, low engagement, we'll say he gets 19 and 23. So I think we get a map 5. Realistically, Apples to apples, oranges to oranges. I'm going to go with the mates here. I'm going to go with the mates in a close 6-4. I think Joe Deceives going to pop off, get 9 and 5 for the L. Joe! You dropped 60 for the L, Joe! A clip from Thieves is always hilarious. When Joe Deceives dropped like 60 EKIA in that red card HP, I think he dropped 50 on the map, and they just got on the mics and they went nuts. They were just berating that poor man, poor Joe. All right, 5 and 7 for Insight, and then we'll say on the mate side, I'm gonna say Envoy has a masterclass, 8 and 5. I mean, that's possible if you have 10 rounds, right? 8 and 5, 8 and 6. There's some rounds you might not die. We'll say Dan Ghosty. We'll say he just has his feet up. We'll say he's 5 and 7. We'll say Nep drops 10 and 6. And then we'll say Sib has a pretty solid 5 and 7 game. So let's submit that prediction for map 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Toronto versus G2 Minnesota. All right, so let's get the quick predicts out the way. We're going to say Riyadh Falcons. We'll quick predict that one. And then we'll do the rest by hand. I'm not gonna talk over the rest of these because this video will be 40 minutes otherwise. I'm just gonna like quickly kind of go through. So we'll say 250 to 190, right? We'll say Joe gets 30 and 22. All right. For Estriel, we'll say 27 and 32. He's been going a little bit nag. Kremp, we'll say he drops a 40 piece, 40 and 30. Mamba, we'll say Mamba has a good game. We'll say he gets 33 and 28. Then we'll say Skies has a slightly negative game, so 28 and 32. I know it's high engagements for Skies, but bear with me, guys. So Toronto versus G2, I think it'll be a 6-4. S&D, I think Joe will probably drop like 10 and 6 or something, right? Real probably gets like 6 and 5. Toby probably gets 8 and 5 or so, and Insight probably gets like 4 and 6. Esriel will say he gets like 6 and 8. We'll say Kremp does like 7 and 4 or 7 and 6. We'll say Mamba does 6 and 8. And then we'll say Caesar Skies does like 4 and 8. Because he'll be sniping, and odds are he's going to get kind of like, you know. Minnesota on Overload, not a good site. So we'll say 5-2. We'll let Minnesota win the map too. And then we'll say Joe drops 289 kills. Yeah, good luck with that, buddy. We'll say he drops 28 and 24. We'll say Real drops 22 because he's usually low engagement in Overload. We'll say he drops 22 and 18. And then we'll say CleanX drops 25 and 19. We'll say he has a great game. Then we'll say Insight drops 22 and 24. I don't know why I always have Insight going negative. It's just because he's like a very slow player. We'll say Estriel drops 22 and 25. I can see his average, so it's somewhat skewing my predictions because it's just telling me like what the relative average is for these overloads. Overload kills are a little bit hard to tally at the moment, so that's why I'm a little bit like relying on this right now. We'll say Mamba 22 and 26. Then we'll just play the averages here. See how that goes. Because I don't have any like unique ideas. All right, and then we'll say Koi closes it out here 250 to 196. Say Joe drops 35. Why not, right? It's Joe deceives. It's not that crazy. Say Real has a really great one. We'll say he drops 28 and 22. I just haven't been that high on Real as a Slayer this season, if I'm being honest with you guys. I love Real as a player. I just haven't seen a lot of encouraging metrics so far that prove that he's fully comfortable in this team and this system yet. Makes sense. He's used to being the guy, and Joe is the guy. So yeah, I'm just waiting for him to get a little bit more comfortable. We'll say Estriel is 26 and 29. We'll say Kremp. We'll say he has a slightly positive game, 32 and 30. Let's say Mamba's actually the standout here. Let's say 35 and 26, because Mamba has been doing that, and he does do that from time to time. And then we'll say Skies for the L. We'll say he goes 24 and 30, because that kind of makes sense. All right, so we got map 1, 2, 3, and 4. Thieves versus the Breach. I feel like honestly, this is just going to be a straight up because this is where I'm trying hard. If I'm being honest, I'm not giving the Breach any sort of like inlet to win this series. I think it's going to be a pretty dominant Thieves win. I think they're going to probably like body the shit out of them. Oh, let me stop cursing. I'm trying not to curse as much because it's not good for the YouTube algo. We'll say Kenny has another great weekend. We'll say he goes 28 and 24, and then we'll say Hydra. I'm gonna pick Hydra top frag this map. We'll say he goes 33 and 24. Why not? Snoop. Let's say Snoop's been a little bit slow. Let's say he gets 28 and 23. The Cam Man. I think he's gonna go neg in this series. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I'm gonna say 18 and 27. Nasty's been pretty much the only player doing anything worth a damn, so we'll say 32 and 22 for him. Then Pershing, we will say for my boy Mr. Evan Persh, we'll do 22 and 30. I love Persh, but he's not been looking good as of late. We'll say Thieves win this one 6-3. Boston's S&D last week looked not great. We'll say Abizi the First Blood Reaper. I think he's going to be reaping these First Bloods. Let's give him 8 and 4. Let's give Ernie a lower engagement game because Abizi's going to be shot calling. Let's say Ernie's 6 and 3. We'll say Ken is 5 and 6. And then we'll say Hydra also has 8, and then we'll give him 6 deaths. Snoop, let's give him 8 and 8, right? Cam, let's give him, he does pop off in S&D, so we'll give him 6 and 7, of course. Nasty, he's been the glue in S&D, so we'll give him 9. Let's give Cammy 4. Make these numbers make a little bit more sense. We'll give Nasty 9 and 7. And then we'll give Purge, because Purge is usually pretty serviceable in search, we'll give him 5 and 7. That sounds reasonable ballpark-wise to me. Boston Overload has been okay. Depends on who they play. Playing Thieves, I don't think it's going to look good. I think it'll be pretty ugly. So we'll say this will be a 6-4. I think Boston will keep it close, but I think Thieves will just be better. We'll say BZ gets 20 and 22. We'll say Scrap does 27 and 20. We'll say Ken has a great resurgence in this series. He does 25 and 21. Then we'll say Hydra goes absolutely nuts and he drops 29 and 21 on him. We're going to say Snoop does pretty decent, drops 26 and 21. We'll say the cam man is far behind in support, dropping 15 and 24. We'll say Nasty's helping Snoopy out. He's dropping a big 28 piece on the overload. Nah, 28 is crazy. Let's say he drops 24. 24 is definitely doable. 24, and let's give Nasty a pause, KD, because I like Nasty and the way he's playing right now. Let's say Persia has a good game. Let's say he has a good game. 22 and 22. All right, I think that's going to be a 3-0. Let's submit that 1 through 3. Heretics versus Mates, LA Thieves. Okay, 5 predictions submitted. All right, so 3 more matches, guys. We're at 20 minutes. Sorry this video is so damn long. Did not want it to be this long, but hey, fuck it, we ball, right? Oh my god, I gotta stop cursing, dude. All right, so Mates versus Miami Heretics. Miami Heretics are going to play them very tight. Trakes is looking amazing, so we'll say 220 to 250. We're going to say Envoy starts this one off hot with 28 and 23. We'll say Ghosty does 35 and 27. We'll say Nep drops a 40 bomb, right? For a dub, that's very possible. 40 and 28. And then we'll say Sib has a really good game. We'll say that he is 30 and 26. Let's do that. Let's say Rancor drops a 35 piece, and he goes a little bit close to neg, but not neg. Say Super, he's a lower engagement AR, but this is going to probably be a late game. We'll say 28 kills for Super. We'll say he goes 28 and 27, barely slugging across that finish line. Metal's been on one, so I'm going to give him a 30 bomb. I'm going to say 30 and 25. And then Trake's been looking amazing as well, so I'm going to give Trakes about 28 kills as well and give him about 25 deaths. Map 2, I'm expecting Miami to take map 2, so let's just do this quick. Saying 6-4 for Miami, probably be a raid, or maybe a den, They do like playing den S&D. Alright, so we'll say Envoy, Dark Prince drops 6 and 8. We'll say Ghosty, we'll say he drops 8 and 7. Nap, we'll say he drops, we'll say he has a bad game, 6 and 8, like Envoy. And then we'll say Sib is 5 and 8. Then on the other side, we'll say Rancor is usually not their S&D shot caller, it's usually Super. So we'll say Rancor is 7 and 5. We'll say Super drops 12 and like 6 or some shit. God, I gotta stop cursing. We'll say Super drops 12 and 6 or something, a typical Super score line. We'll say Metals has a great game. We'll say he goes 8 and 6. And then we'll say Trakes also has a great game, going 9 and 5. Map 3, we have the Gentlemates and Miami going Overload. Yeah, I'm going to give Miami this one. Miami's overloads look great. Gentlemates, their overload has been okay, but not that great. I think this one's probably going to be pretty even KD-wise. It'll probably just come down to objective efficiency. So we'll say Rancor goes like 30 and 28. We'll say Super goes 26 and 22. We'll say Metals goes 28 and 24. And then we'll say Trakes goes 26 and 24. Oops. Now on the other side, we'll say Envoy drops what? I guess like 22 and 27. We'll say Ghosty has a bad game. He drops 25. Well, 25 is not a bad game. Let's say he drops 20 and 26. Nep, we'll say he has the lone good game here. He drops 30 and 22. And then Sib, we'll say that he's the only support for Neptune with 24 and 20. So that's our map 3. Map 4. If Miami take momentum, I feel like this is an upset waiting to happen, guys. Fuck it. We're going to bank on the... God, I got to stop cursing. We're going to bank on the upset. We'll say Miami 250 to Gentlemates 200. Going into the major, there's always kind of a gotcha moment, right? And I feel like this will be it. So we'll say 25 and 30 for the Dark Prince, Dylan Envoy. We'll say Ghosty does great, 35. Why is my default for Ghosty 35 kills? Let's say he does 33 and 26. Nep, we'll say he does, let's say he has a bad game. Let's say he does 25 and 30. And then let's say that Sib has 22 and 27, because Sib is sometimes like a little bit slow. So we'll say Rancor drops a 40 piece. Dude, I'm low key a Heretics fan, bro. I'm low key a Heretics fan. I'm low key. I've been saying it since last year. I'm low key a fan of these guys. I'm like always like rocking with them. 32 for Super. I think my boy's gonna go nuclear. Tell him why you mad, Super. 26 deaths. We'll say Metals goes absolutely bonkers. Let's do it. 33, and you know what? Let's make Metals a standout kill leader here. 33 and 20. Let's get audacious here. Then we'll say Trakes is let's give him a modest score. Let's say 25 and like 26 or something. I really like Trakes. That's why I'm trying not to be super biased and give him like too much gas. So yeah, that's going to be the Mate series. I think Mates take map 1, and I think the Heretics Gentlemen sweep the back half of the series, ironically. Just because I feel like Mates have been looking very, very like vulnerable in S&D and Overload. They just don't look good in Overload, to be honest with you guys, from my perspective. All right, so second to last matchup of the week, I'm saving LA Thieves for last because that's going to be a little bit harder to call. So we have FaZe Vegas taking on the Vancouver Surge in map 1. I'm going to say that it's 250 to 150 in favor of the Vancouver boys, the FaZe Vegas boys. So I think with the lower scoreline like this, I think we're going to have fewer kills. I'm going to say TJ gets 19 and 25. Excuse me, I'm going to say Abe gets 16 and 22. Abe is pretty low engagement. I was a little bit surprised. I thought he was a push the pace kind of SMG, but he's like low engagement. Gwen's always a kill horse, so we'll give him 23 and 25. And then Lunas, give him 18 and 24. CEO, we'll give CEO 25 and 19. We'll give Abuza 30 and 26. Somehow, someway, Abuza's gonna get 30 kills. That motherfucker be moving. Oh my god, why am I so cursing, bro? I gotta get right. 04. I'm not gonna put a 40 bomb on 04 again this week. I'm gonna say he has a modest score line. I'm gonna say 26 and 22. And then Simp's got to go nuclear at some point, right? Let's just say Simp gets like 33 and 19. I mean, it is the Vancouver Surge. He should realistically kind of like dog walk these guys. All right, so the S&D is probably their best chance to keep this one close, so we'll give them a respectable 6-4. We'll say Teach pops off. He goes 8 and 6. Abe, let's say he has a respectable game, 5 and 7. Let's say Gwen has a little bit of a slow one. Let's say he goes 3 and 8. And then we'll say Lunars. Let's say Lunars has a good game. Let's say he has a good game. 6 and 7. All right, draws, S&D, shot caller, play caller. Let's give draws a 6 and 4. Probably not going to die that much. Abuza, he's been sniping crazy, so we'll give him 8 and 4. I feel like Surge are probably just going to feed him with the snipe. 04, we'll say he gets about 6, and let's say 04 goes a little bit negative, because he plays really aggressive. He's their entry, so him going negative is not that crazy. And then we'll say that Simp the Pimp, let's say he goes nuclear. Let's say Simp, after that breadstick in his last SD that we saw from him, he goes 9 and 5. And then this overload, it'll probably be like the C9 one, if I'm being honest, probably be like 8 to 3. Let's say Vegas gets 8 and they get 3. So we'll say that this one ends pretty quickly, so we'll keep the kills kind of low. We'll say Tej gets 15 and 19. Abe, let's say he gets 12 and 20. Gwyn, we'll say he's doing his thing, and he's 20 and 19, no help, right? Then we'll say Lunars is about close. We'll say he's 18 and 20. Then we'll say Draws is like 16 and 20 because it's probably going to be low engagement. Booza probably goes massive. He probably has like 25 and 16, let's call it. 04 probably is a great contributor as well. He probably has like 23 and like, let's say 18. And then we'll say Simp has a pretty tame game. Put him at like 22 and like, let's say 19 for Simp. Let's say 19. And yeah, that's the series. So I think it'll be a 3-0, as you guys can see, 8-3 in the Overload, 6-4 in the S&D, and 250 to 150 in the HP. So let's lock this one in. And then one more matchup. One more match. Okay, so we got Carolina Royal Ravens taking on the LA Thieves. Not LA Knight, LA Thieves. 250 to, let's call it, this is going to be Carolina's first real challenge after the Optic series, in my opinion. I think Carolina will look good in this challenge, but I think Thieves are just better. So we'll say 250 to 200 just because these guys must be respected right now. We'll say a BZ in this matchup goes pretty pause. We'll say 25-21. We'll say Scrap has high engagements. Let's say Ernie's 35 and 25. Let's say Ken 31-26. And then let's say Hydra gets like 33 and 22. Nero, we'll say Nero drops a 40 piece. 40 and let's call it 35. Craze has been going crazy. But Craze is kind of low engagement in these bang out hard points I've noticed. So let's say Craze gets 27, and how many deaths do I think he's gonna have? Probably like 23. Lurk he's kind of like their entry, so I'm gonna give him a lot more deaths and kills. Let's say he goes 23 and 28, and then Exceed the BK. He's kind of a low engagement player at this point, especially since he's an AR. Let's give him 22 and 26. So map 2, I think Carolina probably win this. Their S&D shot calling has been amazing. And Thieves, I mean, it looked good, but we only saw them play one match last week. So Thieves, we've been getting their matches metered out like a bitch, honestly. So it's going to be good to see them play twice. God, I got to stop cursing. And yeah, I think it'll be 6-4. I think Abizi probably will be the difference maker here. I think he's going to be getting first blooded quite a bit. I think he's going to be 5 and 8. I think Ernie will have a decent enough game. I think he'll be 6 and 8. I think Ken probably is a bad one here. Probably like 4 and 9. And then we'll say Hydra has a decent game like 7 and 6. Nero will say he drops 12 and 6. We'll say Craze has like 9 and 4. Lurk, we'll say he has 6 and 5. And then we'll say Exceed the BK, the sniper. Let's say he gets 7 kills and 5 deaths. Okay? So we're 1-1 in the series. Let's go to the Overload. Carolina's a great Overload team. But I think LA Thieves will be better. They just beat Optic on Overload. Optic are a phenomenal Overload team. I think it'll be a 2-score game. So let's call it there. And let's make the kills reflect a bang out. So we'll say Abizi has probably 22 and 20. We'll say Ernie has 26 and 22. Ken, we'll say Ken has another great Overload game. Let's give him slightly more than Ernie. Let's give him 27 and 23. And then for Hydra, we'll give him 28. I think he pops off here, and 20. Nero, I'm going to say he gets probably about 28 as well. Looking at his average, that makes sense. 28, and let's call it 23. I think he'll be efficient. Craze, I think he'll probably have a bad game here. So let's call it 20 and 26. Lurk against LA Thieves, I think he'll look pretty decent. So we'll call Lurk 22 and 24. And then we'll say Exceed probably is the guy who gets tucked to bed and kind of makes a difference here. Because Exceed, I mean, if there's anyone who's going to go like pretty neg, you typically expect it to be him based on what we've seen so far. So I think map 3 goes the way of the LA Thieves, and then I think the series ends here. I think it'll probably be a black card or so. If that's the case, I think it'll be a bang out. But I think a Beezy, I think he'll be the guy to go nuclear in map 4. I think he's going to drop 35 and 27. Why not, right? We'll say Ernie drops 31 and 24, let's call it. Then we'll say Kenny drops. Let's say Kenny's low engagement this map. Let's say he's 25 and 27. And then let's say Hydra pops off for 35 with the BZ, and he has 26 deaths. Now on the other side, we'll say Nero probably has somewhat of a slow game for his standards, 28 and 26. We'll say Craze probably pops off. He'll probably get like 33 and like 29. We'll say Lurk has like, feels like a good ballpark. I'll say about 24 in the L. No, I mean, if it gets this deep, I would say 26 is fair. 26 and let's call it 29. And then Exceed, let's have him go like decently neg. Let's have him go 23 and 30. Just because I feel like map 4 will be relying on Exceed, and I feel like Exceed's just a little bit slow. So, yeah, so that's all my predictions for this week. Okay, last thing that I wanted to include, make a long video even fucking longer, is these bets. So they actually have betting on the site, and you can place wagers with your different stakes. So I'm going to wager on Carolina to win, right? Let's put 5 credits on that. We'll put 5 credits on. Let's take Toronto Koi. Let's take Toronto Koi, guys. Then we'll say Toronto Koi on Saturday as well. Obviously, the Falcons. We'll put 20 on the Falcons. LA Thieves. We'll put. What's my running total right now? 40. Okay. And then I'm gonna bet on the upset here for Heretics. Gonna say Faze Vegas with 10. And then for the last matchup, I'm thinking Thieves. I think they ride that momentum from the Optic series and keep it going. So yeah, I just wanted to include this because a lot of you guys, especially in the other Discords I'm a part of, you asking for betting tips all the time. So this is just for that. So this is what I'm thinking. If you guys want to rock with what like I'm thinking are the actual Call of Duty plays that'll play out when we watch the matches, then this is it. Honestly, the season's been insane with the parity, but I feel like if you just ride kind of the hot hands and who's won matches recently, you'll kind of be in the right place. So Miami's been on a really decent heater lately. Riyadh obviously has. LA Thieves, after beating Optic, you have to figure they're on somewhat of a heater, confidence-wise. Koi, they've been on kind of a heater, and then Ravens have also been on a heater. So I'm playing through the hot hands, and I think LA Thieves are the hottest hand here right now. That's why I have them toppling the Ravens. So yeah, that's my rationale. Let's place these wagers. Oh, minimum wager is 10. All right. So let's do 10, 10, 10. Let's do 15, 10, 20. So 20, 40, 50, 60, 75, 85, 95. All right. We're going to have to get rid of this to replace the Optic wager. So we'll do that, 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 that. I just unlocked an achievement. I don't know what that was, but. All right, then we'll reload. We'll do the Optic bet, and then we'll call it a day. Just give me another chance. Maybe I can switch it up, but we won't. We ride. All right, guys, so that's the slate. This is my picks, basically, if COD is COD, and the craziest things that could happen do happen based on what we've seen. Optic's been looking very, very vulnerable. Mates have been looking vulnerable as well. G2 has not looked great. C9 is 1-4. Boston is looking terrible right now. Miami's looking amazing. Gentlemates are looking questionable. LA Thieves look great. Carolina looks great as well, but I'm just thinking Thieves. And then Faze Vegas, obviously. It's Faze Vegas taking on Vancouver Surge, who look terrible. So that'll wrap it up for me, guys. Hope you enjoy. Hope you have a great morning, noon, or night, like I always say. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.